like a love note to your mother in your own menu.
Yeah.
Has she been here?
She's not been here.
Does she know what your menu looks like?
She knows my entire menu. She goes many times on a video call with my head chef.
Oh yeah.
Yes, like it's
Calls with mom.
yeah, like it's
I love
extremely
it.
important. Like at least like once in 3-4 months, like this video call happens. Earlier, it used to be like once in a week, but then what she would be like talking to my chef about is how to make sure that like every kind of a food item is consistent in her house kitchen, home kitchen. Whereas what my chef has been instructed to grasp from it is the technique and how to commercialize the technique so that we can do it in a fast-paced environment like a restaurant kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's towing that line between
Yeah.
your mother, like, here's how we preserve it, and you're like, here's how we speed it up.
Exactly.
I'm going to start putting all of my employees on calls with my mom. I think that's a great idea. I don't think...
Hi, I'm Patricia Kathleen. I travel the world with a mic in hand and questions to ask. And this is where those conversations live. My guests and I get into everything: work, identity, creativity, purpose, the big stuff, the messy stuff, and the stuff that actually matters. From alleyway chats to studio sit-downs, I bring you with me as I talk to chefs, scientists, artists, activists, whoever around me has a story worth hearing. Wherever you're listening from, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Now let's get into it.
Again, my name is Jay Gandhi,
Uh-huh.
and I co-founded this restaurant in 2023, and I'm currently in charge of the kitchen operations. And mainly, I look after what my customers want and provide them with that kind of food, keeping authenticity at the very base of
Yeah.
our principles.
When you first came at your menu,
Mm-hmm.
what did you want to have on it? How did you decide that?
Yeah. So mainly the idea of like opening this restaurant came out of like two things. One was lack of good quality Indian restaurants outside of India, and second was like to promote and educate people on the authenticity of the food, because even though there's plenty of Indian restaurants outside of India, many of those do not have any authentic flavors because the food has been toned down to suit a foreign palate. So the difference that we are making over here, like I work in the kitchen with my chef in order to curate like these dishes, and most of the dishes we've kept exactly how they are supposed to be, like how they are in India. Like sometimes people find my food oily, or sometimes people find my food too spicy, but the reason why it is like that is because by nature it is supposed to be like that. Now going back to the vegan options that are available, most of the restaurants that you go to, let's say if it's not if it's any other cuisine, you do find like vegan options, but those options are sort of designed to be made into a vegan food or a vegan
Right.
preparation. Whereas most of the food that you see on my menu are vegan by nature. We don't change anything in it because by nature they are vegan. And I'll talk more about vegan food because of the segment of this podcast.
Sure.
But then when it comes to any other food, let's say we look at the vegetarian curries also, like all of those with just a tweak of one ingredient could be turned into vegan, and yet retain that authenticity, the taste, and make sure that the nutritional value that it's supposed to offer is still there.
Yeah.
So how we came up to curating the menu, one was I would visit a lot of restaurants outside of India. Being brought up in a vegetarian family all my life, it was very difficult for me to find good vegetarian food when I started traveling, and I would rely on Indian restaurants. And
Yeah.
I would just 3 day was my cutoff period. Like after 3 days, I would have to go to an Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
I need my
Like
spices.
it doesn't matter which one I have
Exactly.
to. Yeah.
Like whatever it is, I'll go and try. So close to 15 years of traveling, gave me a lot of experience, gave me a lot of chance to visit some very good restaurants. Right, all the way from street side vendors to Michelin stars, and whatever I could pick up from everywhere, I try to blend it in and bring it here. and offer it to the people of Koh Tao or people who are visiting Koh Tao.
What made you choose Koh Tao?
So I came here first time 10 years ago, and since then, like I've been visiting Koh Tao every year except for COVID. And we used to have one restaurant over here, but I used to cook over here when I was just visiting here. Plus, this island has like a great community vibe, and again, like it's getting a little commercialized right now. However, like it used to be a very nice, secluded place, and
Yeah.
so that makes this particular island different, I would say. Many people, like when they come to the restaurant, sometimes like they don't have enough cash, or like they while traveling you forget, and this has
Yeah.
happened with me also. So they end up like requesting that like, hey, can we, like, or the ATMs are not working or something like that. Small island problem. So they end up being in trouble. They think that they are in trouble, like they don't have cash, they had food already. And then I always tell them like there is literally like no reason to worry. Just come back tomorrow, like so
Yeah.
you'll see many places over here wherein we put a lot of trust into people.
Yeah.
Like people do like end up taking that as a very good feeling for themselves, as opposed to how they may have been treated elsewhere.
Sure.
So that's what makes a difference, that why this island is like
It's a good
the
vibe.
place.
Yeah, it is.
And most people knew each other, like we were probably 2,000 people here.
Yeah.
So ideally, like during the time of my cooking, everyone appreciated like most of the dishes, even though it was home cooking. They mentioned that like the day I want to open my restaurant, I should probably open it. And during COVID, we used to have an Indian restaurant here that shut down. So I reached out to the owner of that restaurant, asking her if she's gonna open again or not. She said that she's moved on now, so that was my entry point. And that's when like I was like, okay, if I'm gonna open somewhere, like I'll start with Koh Tao, because it has a good blend of people coming in from every place in the
Yeah.
world. And later on, like if I want to expand, like I could just use this as my test ground, and then based on the learning, I can expand.
Where would you go? Like, would you go to the mainland, Suratani, or would you go to Bangkok, or just hit like Koh Phangan, just keep it close?
So I just came back from Japan. So there's definitely a few locations in Japan where I would want High on Chai to open. But then my locations I want to pick in a way wherein I do not already enter a market where there are other Indian restaurants, even though I can bet that the food that we are promoting is much better. But then I definitely don't want to like enter into a space where already something exists. So I always look for these smaller places where better work can be done, rather than us being pressurized by the footfall of people and then just like delivering mediocre quality.
Yeah, no, I get that, and I'm hearing a return again and again about authenticity and quality
Yeah.
in what you're doing, and you're like, listen, if it was born to be greasy as an Indian dish, it
Yeah.
needs to stay that way.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to alter it to meet the ethos of the environment, which I adore, and I'm wondering how much I can press against that with like my curiosity with you, because there are things. I've spoken to a handful of vegan chefs in Thailand alone,
Right.
that are from India. And they speak a lot about like 90% of like Indian dishes are right kissing that line of vegan, and it's like ghee or something like that, and they're like,
Correct.
you can substitute it out. Like, how much do you think you can change
Yeah.
in a dish until the point where you're saying, I'm not putting it on the menu if it doesn't look how it did back home?
Yeah, yeah. So when it comes to authenticity, like again, going back to the dish that we're not the dish, but the beverage that we have in our name, that is chai. Chai is Indian tea. We can have so many substitute milk options in order to serve this particular chai. In fact, we serve masala chai. The spice ground for the chai is actually done by my mom back home, and we use that like so to retain that authenticity. So it's the same chai.
Are you putting the ginger in with the chai spice too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
so good.
it's the same chai that I've been having in my house for more than 30 years, and I want to make sure that like it stays the same. Now the authenticity is maintained by having my mom make the spice mix, but then I also don't switch to like other milk options. Many people have suggested me, but it would really not taste like chai. It would really not taste like that Indian tea that the entire country of billion people have as the first sip in the morning when they wake up. So hence like I do not change anything over there. But also given that there are plenty of other options in terms of like let's say like turning a vegetarian dish into a vegan dish, like just by not using ghee, which is like a very authentic flavor to like many of the Indian dishes.
And you were saying earlier, like this, it's like the smokiness.
Correct,
Of
yeah.
ghee,
So-
and you're like, but I can get that.
True. So sometimes, let's say, if you talk about biryani, in our biryani options, we have vegetarian biryani, which is also vegan. Now, the only difference between these two is the ghee that is used and the raita sauce that we serve on the side. Raita is like an accompaniment that goes on the side, made with yogurt. So, in order to turn that into vegan, we don't use ghee, but we also bring that smokiness by using sunflower oil, and we use charcoal, a burning charcoal, to give it that dum. It's called dum. Which gives that smoky flavor to the biryani. And then we do not substitute the yogurt sauce with anything else. Rather, we have like a wide range of sauces,
Sure.
which is either made of like there. So we have this. This is a little savory. It's made of
Yeah.
coriander and mint. Then
Love
we've
it.
got pickles. All of the sauces are vegan over
The
here.
best.
The pickles are a little pungent in taste. And then we've got this tamarind and dates for people who want like a little tanginess.
Those are the
So
best.
yeah, ideally like a mixture and mix and match of all of these sauces.
Yeah.
Like ends up making your food like even more flavorful than it already is.
Yeah. There's interesting new things too. That like there's like sauces and things that are sides that are vegan that I never realized. So Indian cuisine varies wildly, but traditionally northern versus southern influences are where
Yeah.
like people divide the line. A lot of
Yeah.
people talk about central, but most chefs are like, are they northern or southern Indian? That's
Yeah.
where you're gonna get the specific flavors. So where is your family from? And does your mom really make the chai mixture that you use here?
Yeah. So my family is from Central West. I'm from Gujarat. I grew up in Gujarat. And to answer your second question, yes, my mom really makes the chai mixture that we get here.
And you only serve it with cow milk. You won't do oat milk or anything else. Because you're like, the authenticity.
Authenticity in terms of taste, because it's not only how see, chai again varies in flavor, and everybody in India would like chai in a specific way which suits their taste palette. But I am over here putting on my menu that I want people to have the chai that I've been having for 35 years.
I get you, and I think that we need to retain a sense of tradition because there's so much fusion happening.
Yeah.
It's like what is truly authentic,
Yeah.
to Indian cuisine
Yeah.
is crucial. So, and I like the idea that you're going with notions that there's already naturally vegan things, and so you can just bring those
Yeah.
straight up onto the table and things like that. What's your favorite thing that you put on the menu? Like when you were like, that has to be on the menu.
So there's a few. In fact, the story behind this menu is most of the things that you see on the menu are the foods that me and my partner like to eat.
Yep, of course, right? Why would you serve something you didn't like?
So initially when I moved to Koh Tao, I would eat Thai food a lot. But again, I started cooking my own food. But then after a point in time, I would need a break from Thai food, and then going back to vegetarian or vegan restaurants, not only in Koh Tao but many other places. I kind of started having a feeling that the flavors are a little bland. But that was also because people were making a certain food to be vegan rather than it being vegan by nature,
Right, yeah.
Hence we sort of landed up on the idea that let's try to serve our entire customer base, and most of the people who come to the restaurant, let's say people who are practicing yoga and all, they are also vegans. They've turned into vegans. So many of them request for having new things on the menu. So this mushroom chettinad, which I have very boldly put under vegetarian curries, but it is by nature vegan, and that is one thing that I really like. The flavors, it is, you can say the chettinad is a sauce from south of India.
Yeah.
So again, I come from the central part, but then if you ask me about what is my favorite type of cuisine in Indian, it is southern Indian food.
Everyone says that.
It is delicious because of the
phenomenal.
options that it gives and the flavors that
Yeah.
it has. Another thing that I really like if it comes to vegan is dal tadka, obviously. It's comfort food because
I love it.
it's let's say you had a really tiring day, you go back home from your 9 to 5 or whatever it is, and then as soon as that dal tadka and the jeera rice hits you, it's straight bed after that, like nothing else. Like, so this is how, like, we sort of try to like convince our head that, okay, like, whatever has happened today, but like this food has like, made my belly full, and I'm more mindful now to just like be in a state of relaxation.
Well, so both of those that you mentioned, for me, this spice flavor, I mean, really all of Indian cooking, right? But like these two, like if the spices are not spot on, they taste like wildly different dishes. Like
Correct.
I've had them in 2 different restaurants and been like, that wasn't the same thing.
Yeah.
So where do you get your spices from?
Yeah.
Do you find them locally? Do you have them imported? And do you find that they vary if you change up your source?
This is a very nice question, because I always talk to my, like, people who I'm interacting with in the restaurant. Like, when they appreciate the food here, like, I give them the secret recipe why it is so authentic.
Yeah.
Because initially when we started, I used to like just source things from here. And by here, I mean like within this country, like I would get things from the suppliers in Bangkok and all.
Yeah.
But then later on, I realized just by like paying attention to like small little things that the temperature very widely affects the quality of the ingredients. And if the ingredients are not quality controlled from the start itself, like, it can lead to a very, very different tasting food item.
Yeah.
If I talk about like jeera, which is cumin seeds, most of the jeera that I would source from here would not crackle at all in the hot oil, which it is supposed to. But
Yeah.
because of the moisture content in it, like it would not crackle. So I started experimenting with like bringing jeera from back home, like from India. And then like, putting those things together and then like trying to do a mix and match. And eventually we came to a conclusion that like not only this cumin seeds, but most of our spices are to be imported from the very source itself. And then we also get everything packaged in a certain way so that like it comes with that temperature control and the moisture control.
Yep.
And we kind of like, make use of things in batches so that like it does not like, the weather over here does not affect the spices that we use.
Right.
So that's one thing. Second thing is like when it comes to pre-packaged spice mixes, like for example, you get all kinds of different like
Berries.
masalas, we call it. A mixture of spice is called masala. So you get like, let's say if you want to cook biryani at home, you get this biryani masala. If you want to make chana masala at home, you get this spice mixture already. Many of those are meant to cater a mass audience.
Yeah.
So even though there is quality control in there, I'm not doubting that at all. Like it really does not have that like, richness that freshly, ground spice mix or a freshly roasted spice mix would bring.
Yeah.
So we try to do everything in-house. So that's the difference that we make.
Absolutely. Well, and so many things in Indian cuisine stew
Yeah.
for such a long time. You
Yeah.
know, it's just going to bring out the difference.
True. One thing that I always like to point out is like, let's say if you're eating something that's Italian, or let's say if you're eating something that's Thai, like most of these recipes come with like a minimum of like 7 to 8 or like a maximum of 10 ingredients and to curate a dish. Whereas pick any of the recipes from an Indian cuisine, like there's minimum of like 20 to 30 ingredients that
Yes.
go in it. Like even when it comes to the spice
Yes.
blend, and maintaining that level of mixture, like, it becomes very difficult sometimes, but somehow like for generations that country has been doing it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, because of the knowledge passed on to us by our ancestors, like we are able to do the same and serve people in the authentic way.
Absolutely. I want to compare because we're in Thailand. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in the Gulf of Thailand,
Correct.
a tiny island, but it's Thai.
Yeah.
And both of those cuisines, at least where I'm from in the USA, Thai and Indian get compared a lot for their spice levels, their heat.
Correct.
And everyone talks about them being similar. To me, they're wildly different.
Yeah.
Thai spice and Indian spice are just completely different
Yeah.
universes. How would you summarize that yourself as a chef with a palate? Because you live in Thailand and you come from India cooking Indian food.
Yeah. So for this, like many a times, like I not warn, but then I educate my customers on this, that especially Thai people, because many times when Thai people come here, they come with an idea that they can handle like, spicy food.
Yeah.
But the difference I see is like Thai spiciness comes only from chili peppers.
Yeah.
Whereas Indian spiciness, which is actually heat, the heat level comes from variety of ingredients, like, right from like the black cardamom itself, like, which someone might think a cardamom, how can it give you that heat level? But then like, if not mixed in the right way, like it can like increase the body heat a lot. So I have to educate people on this, that like, you know, the spiciness that we think of, which is just your chili pepper heat, versus the spiciness that Indian food brings in, which has like 17 ingredients mixed in a way which just makes the entire food like, you know, really hot
Yes.
to eat. So like these are the differences that I notice primarily.
Yeah.
I don't have any formal education in terms of like, you know, cooking or like anything like that. It
Okay.
just came out of a hobby.
Generations of people.
Yeah, and missing home cooked food, you know. So
Yeah.
like most of it like came out of that. And ideally, like, you know, I would like to say that this is the primary difference that I see. There may be like, you know, some differences like which I am not aware of, but I just want to say this one.
Yeah. The Ayurvedic influences, you know, behind Indian cooking. And
Yeah.
what I mean by that, you know, that's a big term for
Yeah.
me to be throwing around.
Yeah.
But like a lot of how spices in general, in fact,
Yeah.
not just food, but spices,
Yeah.
when combined with certain foods, aid properties of health
Correct.
within the body.
Yeah.
That's something that's like commonplace in Indian cooking.
Yeah.
You know, making sure that you have pepper attached to something else so the body can absorb it.
Yeah.
Every Indian chef I talk to is
Yeah.
like, everyone knows that. I'm like,
Yeah.
nobody knows that. So the influence of connecting the body with the food
Yeah.
beyond just the taste buds feels like it's also part of Indian cooking.
Yeah.
Do you
it
feel
is.
like you were raised with that awareness as well?
So I'll give you an example of this. I moved out of my house at a very young age as compared to other people in India. But as soon as I moved out, like the first thing that I miss, that every kid misses, is like home cooked food. Everyone misses this. No one likes to accept it, but like it's just like the food that was cooked in your house is something that always like, you know, like gives you that comfort level and confidence level like to go out and like win the world. So every time I used to fall sick, before going for like any kind of a medicine like or a doctor or something, like, you know, I would try to analyze like what is wrong with me. Most of the times it's just like general sickness. It's not like a chronic disease.
Right.
So most of the times like these general sicknesses, I would try to cure first with like what food am I missing and what will my body really like at this point in time.
Yeah.
And then like get on a call with my mom. That's why like I give great importance to my menu itself. I write eat well is what our mothers preach. I've written it right there. So I give great importance to her knowledge of things, that she has been like treating me with food first and then medicines with most of these general illnesses. And that's how like, you know, like mostly like I feel like our food affects our body in this way. I don't have like the medical knowledge of it, but then again, like, you know, going to the basics of like using a lot of turmeric in our cooking, a whole lot of like, you know, spice blends, which kind of like cure your basic like sinuses, sicknesses and all.
Yeah.
It's just like it has been proven, like, so Ayurveda has great importance in Indian cooking since generations, I believe.
Yeah, and it makes self-taught chefs from India like a different kind of chef anyway.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a connection even of understanding and applying food to that way is a very different thing. I think it's what's required for the amount of patience with the spice blends and the everything that's going on. It's like it's all going to be worth it. It's totally attached to the human body, you know? So I agree with that. What was, like, what went on your menu that maybe your co-founder wanted on there that you're like, I don't really want it on there? Like, do you have like a prickly point on here that you're like, I don't really love it?
So again, the story of opening this restaurant, like, and how it's working, it's just like surprising to many, because none of us, like, you know, not me nor my partner, have any background in cooking or hospitality or anything like that. My background, I've given 15 years of my life to advertising, and he's a DJ.
A DJ and an advertiser get together, like, let's start a restaurant.
And we are like,
Is he
okay, what do
Indian?
we do? Like, he's Indian as well. We
Okay.
both kind of grew up together back home. But then, like, when we started traveling together, we reached Koh Tao together as well. So that's the entire story. Like, you know, we are very connected to this place. And so we started the restaurant together. And thankfully, he eats meat. For me, like, I've tried to like, it's something psychological. I don't know how, but like, it's just like, I just cannot have more than a bite. But again, working in the kitchen, I definitely have to like, go for trying out the sauces and the bases. So I don't restrict myself to that. But then most of the trials of like the meat dishes goes to him.
Right.
Like, and also like many of our friends over here, like, they
Sure.
try it out. And then we kind of decide whether we should put something on the menu or not. We've never really
That
had...
being said,
Yeah.
come on, let's talk about the tea. It can't all be roses and berries. Like what pressure points have been coming up here? Any?
Pressure points...
Like, do you let the marketing speak to the menu curation and editing? Like, if something just isn't making her cut, do you slice her?
Yes, like, so again, like, something that is like, my background is analytics.
Yeah.
So again, we are very heavy on like, understanding things based on numbers. But then again, like, I don't want to make this just a business. I want to keep this as a passion project as it started.
Sure.
So there are certain things. For example, most of the lamb that we have, like, Thailand imports most of its lamb. And it's a very expensive dish.
Yeah.
So, but then I do want this on the menu. And my partner definitely wants that on the menu because it's a very good variety of dishes, especially mutton rogan josh coming from Kashmir and mutton keema, which probably was like, brought in by like the Mughal emperors or like, time, that particular time of India, like, and it originated into a keema recipe, which is minced meat. So I want to keep this, even though like it does not really make profits for us.
Because it's an homage to history.
Exactly.
You're such a sentimentalist. I love it. You're going to lose money on it, but
That's
not too
all right.
much because you're smart. I know. You're like, I can afford it. It's all good. I was taught in the beginning, like, no, naan always has to have some kind of butter. And then everyone's like, no, it doesn't. It just has to have some kind of fat. And then I had roti one time, and everyone said roti is always vegan or vegetarian. And then someone else I met said, no, it's not. So it's like, apparently there's a million ways. And the reason why I ask is because I find these like premise of like the French baguette, the Italian dough and bread. Like everyone has this foundation of like whatever. It's your bread, it's your cracker, it's your naan, it's your roti. So for you, what are the key components of those two things, and what's being served here?
Yeah. So again, like, having some kind of fat or like, the oil content is required.
Yeah.
Just so that like, we can leaven the dough. And then when it gets cooked, like there are certain breads which are leavened breads. There are certain breads which are flat breads. And we can't really avoid like that. We can't really avoid the fact that like, some kind of oil or fat is to be used.
Yeah.
But when it comes to naan, like, again, with all of my traveling around the world, I've noticed this, that there are certain places where they use yeast to raise the naan. There are certain places where they use yogurt or curd to make it fluffier or softer. Whereas what we do is that we don't use any of that, but then we do use butter on our naan. But if people want a vegan naan, it's also possible because we just don't put butter or any oil or any kind of ghee on it.
So someone comes in and they're like, can I get some non-vegan? You're like, not a problem.
Exactly.
In the moment.
Yeah, because it is vegan by nature.
So you're cooking it as they order it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And also when it comes to like roti, I think someone might have told you that it's not vegan because roti, all of us Indians are used to having with ghee on top.
Ghee on, I know, just the drizzle on the very end, always.
And roti is cooked in our homes, in our houses. In some areas they are called chapatis. In some areas, like where I come from, it's called rotli. Hence, like some people using a different language end up calling it roti, but it's the one that puffs up nicely on the griddle, and then we apply ghee on it. So this is why it could be non-vegan, but the rotis that we cook are cooked in a tandoor, which is your clay pot oven.
Yeah.
And most of the rotis, which are called tandoori rotis, are vegan by nature, unless you apply ghee or butter on it. So we can just add some any kind of vegetable oil or like any kind of oil, rather than like using ghee into the dough making, and then it just works as a vegan.
It's the best cracker in the world. I love like Indian menus. Like I can just hang out with the words and the food all day. But roti and these three, I'm good.
And
like I can just go to town.
One thing that you'll notice on our menu, which not a lot of people have on their menus, a lot of Indian restaurants don't have, is the Kerala parota. Kerala parota, again, it's by nature, it's vegan. Like there's nothing that we change in it. For example, the tandoori roti and the naan, like we apply bread, we apply butter or ghee on it. And if people want to make it vegan, we can do that. Right? That's an amendment that we do. However, Kerala parota is by nature vegan. It's a very nice fluffy bread, leavened also, but then cooked on a griddle, and oil is used in making those layers for that bread.
Why aren't people, you're right, I don't see that hardly anywhere.
Correct.
Why not?
Because not a lot of people know how to make it right. And
You're
I'm
like,
very lucky.
their ignorance is keeping them from putting it on
I'm
the
very
menu?
lucky, and I give all the credit to my chef that he is able to make it right, hence I put it. Before we put that on the menu, I made a trial, and then we did the testing for more than 7 times. Every day I would eat something with a Kerala parota that he would make for me. And then like we would go towards like the nitty-gritties of it as to what is wrong, what is right, and made a final version of it.
I mean, everyone's gonna come get this now. Get ready for the rush. Seriously, you just put some backbone in that. I'm gonna do nothing but eat that while I'm here.
Absolutely.
Here's my question to you before I let you go on the actual menu. You get, and we were talking about this before we started rolling, so I want to revisit it.
Yes,
you get a lot of love in the vegan community. And vegans, not just vegetarians. People are like, I don't order vegan. I had this guy's vegan stuff. Best Indian of my life. There's 3 self-professed, I don't know that to be true, but Google reviews, I don't know anyone's going on there saying, I'm Indian, who's not necessarily. And they claim that your food is so amazing. Do you believe it's because you're driven, earnest, lucky, or is it because of this lens that you keep saying where you're like, I keep it authentic?
I strongly believe that because we keep it authentic, hence like I always like appreciate when we get feedback from Indian people, because again, going to the primary reason why we started this restaurant is because of lack of good Indian food outside of India. So when they are traveling and when they end up like, you know, into a restaurant and like truly appreciate it, and I see the happiness on their faces, you know, like when they are leaving the restaurant, like they would constantly be talking about it as to how much they were missing this. And it reminds me of my days when I was traveling. And when I was like literally looking for what they are always looking for. So I'm here to provide not only to them, but to everyone in the world, like who are supposed to have the food the way it is supposed to be. But also at the same time, like I would give great credit to my chef, because many a times it happens so that like chefs have their own way of working, people who have been working professionally in a kitchen, and they would not tweak things just because somebody is asking to. But then over here, like, you know, I'm very lucky that my chef would not tweak anything at all in order to accommodate a person's suggestions. But we always make sure that the dietary restrictions are taken care of. So in order to make sure that like the dietary restrictions are taken care of, because there's not only like, you know, vegan people, we get a lot of people who are with lactose intolerance. There's gluten, that is an issue. There's people who only eat halal food, you know, like, so teaching all of this to somebody who's coming from a different background in India, like it becomes very difficult. But like thankfully, most of these things we tackled by just providing with the right options rather than alternating or like tweaking things into a particular authenticity of a dish.
Right. How long have you been open?
We opened on 15th of January 2023.
23.
Yeah.
2 years.
So it's been over 2 years, a little over 2 years.
And how's the ride so far? I mean, you're still in infancy.
Yeah, like it definitely, like, you know, it's been really good. The response has been good, I would say. Sometimes we get very busy, but I'm also like, you know, very casual with my guests. Plus, like the kind of people who come here, like most of them are like traveling. They are on a tropical island. They do not like, you know, expect a lot. But in the end, like when they get like something that is so good, like they just kind of like leave with an awe or surprise.
I know it's hard sometimes to get tourists to leave reviews. You know, most people are like, Google reviews come from people who are like living down the street from you, and they go to you for like a year, and they're finally like, all right, you a review. And you're getting hundreds of reviews from people that are like, they have no stake in your game. You know, they could like bounce and never have it happen again, and they love you.
from coming back from advertising as my background, like, like this used to be one of the products that we would promote to our clients, that like you need online reputation management, you need good reviews and all. But then like when I started my company over here, my restaurant, I was very strict towards this, that like I do not want to do any kind of marketing, and I don't want to do any advertising.
So what, you're
At
going to
least
let
for
your
the first
food
2
do the
years.
marketing?
Exactly. I was like, let our product do the marketing first.
Yeah.
And then like if there's something that is required in order to sustain the business, I have an expertise in it, given that I've given 15 years to that industry. But all of the reviews started coming in, like people, I know for a fact that like, people make an effort to leave a review when the experience is bad. That's when like they are very driven, that like, okay, like, because I
Yeah,
could
you're
not tell
right.
somebody,
It
I'm going to
reads
write a
out.
bad review. When really good reviews started coming in, and that too detailed reviews, like, they are taking the time to write down an entire story of their experience.
Sure.
And
No, they're not small words.
Exactly.
Like especially yours, like you get paragraphs.
Yeah.
It's not just good food, It's getting like sentences. That's like a win.
Exactly. So when that started happening, like, I gave it a cap. I was like, okay, until like we reach like 400 or 500 reviews, we're not going to promote it. Very recently, we've just started to put up like these QR codes on like small little places in the restaurant, where if people want to leave a review, they can just scan the code and leave a review.
Sure.
But we don't really like, push people
Drive
to do
it.
that. I want to continue this like organic way of like, growing the reviews, because those are like the best feedback for me. Sometimes people after eating the food, they cannot like, tell you that something was off or something was bad.
Sure.
That they can mention when they are not in front of you, when they are like
Sure.
alone at home or something.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. I want to know, you have like a love note to your mother in your own menu.
Yeah.
Has she been here?
She's not been here.
Does she know what your menu looks like? Does
She knows my entire menu. She goes many times on a video call with my head chef.
Oh yeah.
Yes, like it's
Calls with mom.
yeah, like it's
I love
extremely important. Like, at least like once in 3-4 months, like this video call happens. Earlier, it used to be like once in a week. But then what she would be like talking to my chef about is how to make sure that like, every kind of a food item is consistent in her home kitchen. Whereas what my chef has been instructed to grasp from it is the technique and how to commercialize the technique, so that we can do it in a fast-paced environment like a restaurant kitchen.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's towing that line between
Yeah.
your mother, like, here's how we preserve it, and you're like, here's how we speed it up.
Exactly.
I'm going to start putting all of my employees on calls with my mom. I think that's a great idea. I don't think this just has to do with an Indian kitchen and a mother. I think it has a lot to do with, like, they deserve it. That's
Absolutely.
wonderful. I love that. All right, well, let's try some food. Let's
Absolutely.
do this, man.
Yes. So
That
here we
makes
go.
it. Walk us
We've
through
got
it.
pani puri. Street vendors in India, they definitely like, try to like match up with your pace of eating it. And it's always a competition, because many of like my friends like who I go out with, they've ended up having like 50 to 60 at a time, which does not categorize it as a snack, but just becomes a full-blown dinner meal. But over here we serve 6 pieces, which I feel is good enough. Like if you're sharing, like it's more than enough.
Yeah.
And we serve it with 2 kinds of water. Water, I would say, like it's just mixed with different herbs and spices. So the green one being like on a spicier note, and the red one being tangy and sweet. It's always good to have your own mix and match. How you eat this, I believe you've had this before, but
Yes.
I'll just quickly explain it.
Go it, yeah.
How you eat it is like you fill it up to the brim with your choice of water, mix it up as well, and then have it in one go and let that thing explode in your mouth, because that's when all the flavors are felt on the palate. And this is when like, it activates your senses, because this green water is very fresh. It makes you very fresh
Yes.
because of the use of mint in it.
Yeah.
Right? Would you like to go first?
Sure. Is
Go
it,
for it,
so do you do, I want to know what kind of, I'm going to show you what my mixture is.
Yeah.
Then you show me what yours
Sure.
is. There.
Yeah.
Do you consider this to be a street food? Like, would you ever see this in a beautiful restaurant in India, do you think?
So I've been to like, several restaurants like in India as well as as well as like outside of India, where pani puri is served, but in a very different way. For example, we have a popular restaurant called Gagan. Gagan is considered to be number one now in at least in the Asian region. It has a tasting menu, whereas
Ruh-roh. It's okay.
on their menu, when it comes to like having pani puri, they make it in a very different way. I don't have a video for it, but when I went there, like he made this puri base and he made like small noodles into it, making it a bird's nest, and he made a tiny white chocolate egg filled with this spicy water.
White chocolate
White
egg
chocolate egg. So it was a bird's nest with an egg on it.
inside.
Yeah, but then the white chocolate giving the sweet flavor and the spicy water inside.
Who
So
did this?
Gagan.
Yeah, okay.
Gagan Anand, yeah.
And you had it.
I had it, yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
it was amazing, like
Yeah, it
the
sounds
way
emotionally beautiful.
the way pani puri was presented, because it's still the same ingredients. It is the exact same ingredients what you are eating in a traditional pani puri. This is how it is in India.
He just got
these were the
playfully
same,
artistic with it.
very artistic, and the way he curated it, it was just like magical for me.
See, I could eat this all day.
Yeah.
Couldn't you? Come on. What is this called again?
Yeah. So it's not on the menu. On the menu we have it as pork sheikh kebabs.
Oh, right.
But this is something that I wanted to make just for you, so that you get a little bit of flavors of sheikh kebabs. So this is a vegan sheikh kebab,
Okay.
and
You need to put this on the menu.
I will put it later.
This is so good. But you can take it and go.
Yeah.
It's like a. And so, how do you get the form? Are you rolling
Yeah.
it?
So we have like a skewer. It's very important, the shape of that skewer, because clay pot oven is something in which like the skewer goes horizontally. So we use like the flour for binding, and then we just like try and like stick it up, and then it goes into
On a skewer. So
on a
you're
skewer,
like,
yeah.
and then
But-
you're putting it in the oven.
Yeah, but the shape of the skewer is square. It's not
Square.
round, yeah. So it from the inside it holds properly.
Oh. I would thought that you would have had like a mold and then just
No.
put them on a tray.
No, so it goes on like on a skewer, but really long skewers. Like it goes on that, and that goes in the oven at 400 degrees, and then from that point it just
Let's
starts.
see you. What are you gonna do to it?
Yeah. So here, I was explaining about chaat masala.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna
in-
do that to it as
yeah.
well. Let's
So
go.
this is the spice mix which adds like tanginess because of the presence of like raw powdered mangoes.
Would you sprinkle this on top?
Yeah, you can sprinkle that on top, so when you do that, it just gives like this
Yeah.
flavor to it, wherein you don't even need any kind of sauce, you can just have it just like that.
Yeah. And this is from the mango.
Yeah,
Or
it's
the
raw
dried
mango and a lot of other ingredients.
Mmm.
Yeah?
Oh my god. Did you make that?
Yeah.
I could put that on popcorn.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be my new best friend. What is the name of it? You need to try
Yeah.
this. This is insane.
It's called chaat masala.
Chaat masala.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I've bought it and it doesn't taste like that.
But that's the difference. Like it's the retaining the freshness because of just making it fresh over here rather than having it packaged. But most of the chaat masalas, they do have like.
What is this?
Yeah, so this one is not something that I give out to everyone.
Is it spicy?
It's a spicy sauce
go.
that I make, sourcing some chilies from here. But then I always give it out with a warning, because even though not very spicy on the palate, it is hot for the body. So
Why?
mindful as to how much you eat. Because these chilies that I used in it, are I find them to be of that nature, wherein they are so hot for the body.
Later on.
Yeah.
It's not that spicy.
As I said, not very spicy on the palate,
But
hot
later.
for the body. So you won't feel the spice, but you will start sweating afterwards.
It's an internal sauna.
Yeah.
All right, what do you want to do next?
Next up, we have on the menu is your vegan wrap.
What's inside of it?
So again, it has a similar patty like this, and then like some use of fresh vegetables, some tomatoes and onions, and like if we have to make it vegetarian, we'll make use of like some mayonnaise. But then like in this, we use tomato ketchup.
Nice.
Yeah, to give it some flavor.
What flavor are you carrying through? What kind of curry?
So I can have this with
turmeric?
the spicy sauce, but then again, that is just like to suit my palate. But then if we have with a mixture of these two sauces, which is your coriander and tamarind, we mix these two together. This is one of the base Indian sauces, like which go with like every kind of food, and then having it with like wraps are also, we call it street food only. Having it with this, like it ends up giving you a good distinct flavor.
That is really good. You really do know flavor. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's so much better than a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
You can't call it a wrap. We gotta go back to Frankie.
Go back to Frankie.
You know, because like it's more of like what is a Frankie? It's at least gonna ask the question, because when I think of a wrap,
Yeah.
I think of everything wrong that was ever done to a burrito.
Oh no.
You know.
It's a very versatile sauce. Like just we call it dhamaka sauce, which means an explosion.
It's got a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of notes.
Yeah.
It's not hogging the stage.
This sauce was like originated in Indo-Chinese cuisine, you can say. Like a lot of like Chinese food influence in the eastern side of India.
Yeah.
And then they had to do something to make it like more authentic towards Indian taste palette.
Yeah.
And then they came up with something called as the Szechuan sauce.
Yeah. Okay.
They call it Szechuan, but it's actually the Szechuan chili peppers,
So how did India get their hands on it?
So India got into it, like they made a sauce called Szechuan sauce, and then it used to be one of my favorite sauces back home, but again, lack of like Indo-Chinese cuisine outside of India.
Yeah.
So I ended up making my version of it. So the difference that we are making is we are using the chilies from here. We're not using the Szechuan peppers.
Okay.
We're using the chilies from here. And we tweak the recipe a little bit. And also like, the content of oil in it is to preserve it for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary that you are supposed to eat that oil. But because of the use of like more oil, like we are able to preserve it for a long period of time.
Yeah. So good. So do you think
glad.
that your mom from, do you think she could video right now and look at that through the camera and see whether or not she would fix anything?
So I'll again give you a real life incident.
Okay.
In fact, like let me just show this to you.
Yeah.
You would think that I'm way too like connected to my mom, but then like we love like we learn everything from them, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I always like to keep it that way. So because I live a little far away from where she is, like my way of connecting with her is via food, because most of this is like everything that was passed on as a knowledge by her to me.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do to keep in touch with her every day is whatever I'm eating, I take a picture of that. I take a picture of that, and that picture goes to her. And in response, she has to reply what I'm eating. So she tries to guess whatever I'm eating. So this is chana chaat. I'm having this. Like, so she'll write, what is this, everything.
I love that. Does she ever get it wrong?
Sometimes.
You've got a very, very blessed culinary life.
Nice.
This is all going well. And your
That's
home
what we
sounds
want,
good.
like good food, good mood.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. And best friend, co-founder, DJ. You got an okay life, man.
There we go.
It's working out for you. Yes.
Lovely,
I love
lovely.
it.
It was a pleasure
It
meeting
was a
you.
pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
This is actually just an amazing experience.
Nice.
Jay.
Thanks for listening to Borderless. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you like this episode, please subscribe so that you can continue to hear fascinating conversations as I continue to wander the globe. You can follow us on Instagram at borderless-podcast or head over to our website, borderless-podcast.com for more info and updates. This episode was produced by Patricia Kathleen Productions, and a special thank you to the team that makes it all happen. Cherie Ternate, Emma Baker, and Finn Wild. Wherever you are in the world, I hope our conversation made you feel a little more seen and connected. Until next time, take good care.